Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another night of the Owatonna Wrestling Weekly Podcast here with Coach DJ Johnson, the head coach of the Owatonna Wrestling team in town here. And we had quite a season. We're still talking about wrestling because it's still going on.
Well, yeah, and I know it's weird to announce yourself, but this is a legendary coach, middle school coach for 30-some odd years, Larry Hovden, and
7, I don't know.
Proud patriarch of the Hovden wrestling family and all the boys you had come through. So, yeah.
I just looked at a picture back there. I got all 4 boys on one picture for that state championship team. They're all coaching here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's on us.
Yep,
So
that's right.
that's quite a picture. I never knew that all 4 of them were in there.
Mm-hmm.
Brought a tear to my eye.
Oh, yeah.
All right, though. First of all, we got to talk about our sponsor because that's the guy that just takes care of everything. You know, we need something. You give a call, you got it.
Yep.
And that's Premier Bank.
Premier Bank, yep. So, proud sponsor of the Owatonna Wrestling Program, as well as, in the Owatonna area. I know we have a couple of golf events coming up that they're major donors to. So that's just pretty telling about what type of organization, how philanthropic they are. It's cool. It didn't take much for me to just ask, hey, would because I worked there, would Premier Bank like to be a sponsor? I didn't even finish the sentence. They're like, yeah, how much? So they're always willing to help. They're always looking to help. And they're so great and flexible with, being, for myself, the time it takes to be a head wrestling coach for a high school program. And that's the way they are. There's hockey coach. They're a big-time hockey place. I don't hold it against them too much, but everyone's a hockey coach all the way up the ranks. So they recognize the importance of family, of community.
Family only, yeah.
Yeah.
They take care of the family here.
So much appreciated. Thank you, Premier Bank.
Well, they always want to mention that who we are, where we've been, where we were destined, and we travel together. Is what that's their motto. So that's a big mouthful to fill, but I tell you what, it sounds like they do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And now, the first wrestling subject we need to talk about is the Owatonna Wrestling Banquet, the high school wrestling banquet.
This Sunday at the Owatonna Eagles Club from 1 to 4. Tickets are $15 at the door. Lunch buffet is included. And yeah, we're trying to bring everyone together, have everyone kind of come out of the woodwork. We already saw that in terms of like alumni night and senior night. We saw a lot of faces I haven't seen in a while, and we want to keep that energy going and bring this community together. And this is the perfect opportunity. We even have some youth and middle schoolers that I'm reaching out to see. They already had their banquets, but I want to showcase some of those awards too from their own banquets. So. Really, unification is one of my main missions as I took over the program, and so that's something that I'm going to keep going.
And that's Sunday, April 24th, 1 to 4 o'clock at the Eagles Club, $15 at the door to get in. Lunch buffet followed by the awards.
Absolutely, yep.
All right, we got that covered, and now it's time for the OHS/OWA Weekly Recap. Girls Folkstyle Nationals. We still got them going.
Yep. So I apologize to Rian Grunwald, state championship wrestler. This happened, I think it was actually 2 odd weeks ago. Girls National Folkstyle Championship in Colorado. So she went out there with, some other Minnesota wrestlers. I know. What's her face from Northfield actually won nationals. Our Rian Grunwald, our state champion, first ever 114 state champion, took 5th in the nation out there. So had an amazing tournament. And she's one that's in freestyle practice twice a week. I know she also heads over to RCTC and practices. She goes up to Summit. I mean, they're just all over the place all the time. She lives and breathes it. And that was reflected when she was on the show, and we were asking, like, what are your hobbies? And she's like, this, like wrestling. So
it is.
It pays off. And so, congratulations to Rian taking 5th in the country at Girls Folkstyle Nationals.
And now, how many of you guys have ever heard a coach say you got to practice, you got to try and make yourself better, you need to commit for a couple days a week, and look where it can happen.
Yep.
Some of these kids just don't have that focus on being able to get to that state tournament or be able to get to that national tournament.
Well, and just because you do, now it's baseball season, it's lacrosse season, it's soccer for some of the youth. Totally encourage it. We want four-sport athletes. We want kids involved in all kinds of things. But hey, if you can spare an hour here or there during the week too, just any mat time is beneficial.
Well, you did it back when you were a young man.
Yeah,
in the freestyle
absolutely.
program, we used to take 30, 40 kids down to nationals every year, and the Folkstyle nationals too. And but there's people in baseball that were heavy duty baseball players, like Nate Abrahams, a couple other guys, but they still came in and wrestled.
Yep.
And that's all they needed, and they did well at these tournaments. So we definitely want the four-sport athletes. That means you are really well-rounded and you have a lot of ability.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what I look at, ability. You can really go. All right, now we got the Heartland Duels this past weekend.
Yeah, down in Iowa. So they were taking dual teams for the Minnesota State team for different age groups. And so we had 4 wrestlers participate. One we're about to talk to here in a couple of minutes, Max Flemke, 8th grader. Kaden Lindquist, 6th grader. And then we had 2 girls.
Aliah Fischer, 6th grader, and Kayla Pastika, 6th grader.
Yeah. So represented Owatonna well. They were each on a different team just because of those age brackets and everything. So
If they're asked to go, they're probably one of the best in the state.
Yeah,
They're going to represent Minnesota.
yeah, we were talking about all 4 of these at Min USA State a few weeks ago, and then NYWA and everything. So they, haven't taken time off. They are still super active, and it's paying off. So.
And why they are so good is the Freestyle and Greco season is still going. That a lot of people think wrestling's done with now, but in the USA Wrestling program, that league is tough and it makes you tough. If you want to be a good wrestler, get in there for that freestyle. Or if you don't want to go to tournaments, just come in for the practice. Keep yourself in shape.
Absolutely. Well, and to that point, we have, expert clinicians, Orlando Ponce from Augsburg, and Daniel DeShazer, who is so popular technique-wise that he has his own video series on Fanatic Wrestling. So, I mean, we have those 2 master clinicians that are in here, each once a week. So both Mondays and Thursdays, you're dealing with some of the best clinicians in the Midwest.
Yep.
And that's awesome.
And I'm kind of the guy that always goes after the new kids. I just love to get a new guy in here and just let them watch. And then when they're ready to wrestle around, they can. I'll teach them a few moves and they'll get out on the mat and practice. But then when that time comes that you want to go to a tournament and watch, we go and watch. And then you can participate a little while later down the road. And you'll see that, hey, I can do this.
Yeah. Yep.
We're always looking for the new guys to come into wrestling.
Absolutely. Yeah. As we keep saying, wrestling's a sport to where just because, you're 5th, 6th grade, haven't started yet, even all the way through, we had some seniors come out for the first time this year who ended up placing actually pretty high at the Big 9 JV tournament. So it's something that it's not a totally different language like learning to ice skate or something like that. You are basically equipped to do it, and it's just about refining, honing the technique, and kind of enjoying the martial art of it. So yeah.
Okay, we'll be back with a lot more wrestling right after this break. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Owatonna Weekly Wrestling Podcast. Coach DJ Johnson running the show down there at the end of the table, bringing in guests in every week. It has been quite an eye-opener seeing some of these kids and what they're doing and the accomplishments they're doing. And today we got Max Flemke, 8th grader. And what that kid has done this year is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and coming off, so you're at Heartland Duels.
Yep.
How'd you do down there?
I went 5-2.
5-2, nice. That's a tough tournament. So
2 days or 1 day?
Yeah, just both 2 days.
2 days.
2 days, okay. Gotcha. And then that, you got asked to be on that team because how'd you do at Min USA State?
I got first place at 4. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and you danced on camera.
How many matches there?
2, just 2. It was a small bracket.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
Still gotta be
you're a bigger kid in 8th grade, so it's like, yeah, there's it gets a little slim pickings, and hey, that's why we brought you up to the high school about halfway through the year, is to get a look and to have you work with us. And so speaking of the season, and this could be either junior high or high school, what was like one of your favorite memories of this year?
Well, this year, probably my favorite memory was, or one of my favorite memories was winning my first varsity match. Just kind of cool to stand up and,
What town was that against?
that was, I want to say,
Mankato
yeah,
East.
Mankato East.
Yep, that was senior night.
Ooh.
That kid tried to headlock you like you
Not
didn't know
head.
where you were, and you showed him who you were. That was, I mean, and you made the place go crazy. Like, was it everything you thought it would be? Like under the lamp, packed house, getting a pin.
Yeah, it was. I kind of see that kind of stuff in like movies, and just like thinking that kind of feeling is just unreal. That only like a lucky few get to, feel that. But it kind of was perfect conditions. Everybody was there. It was a cool match, just under the big light, and first match got a pin, and just a cool feeling. Just kind of felt like I'm on top of the world.
Yeah,
Top of the world.
absolutely. Well, nice. And then you finished so we kind of had you going back and forth. Got you a few more looks on varsity, but when it came time to being in like the Big 9 JV tournament, you had a good tournament. How'd you do there?
At the Big 9 JV sections, I got first out of, can't remember, but
It was like six or eight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I had a few matches there.
Oh.
And yeah, came out on top.
Nice. Well, and you've kept it going. Have you pretty much been consistently wrestling since the high school season ended?
Yeah, I've been going to just last weekend, going to Heartland Nationals and going to practices for that. Going to like strength training, going to Black Shirt Club, and the Freestyle Greco practices. I've been making that the 2 times a week. Trying to just stay on top of things, and when there's nothing really going on, just kind of doing some exercising at my house, and yeah.
Wow. How many kids do that? That's dedication there.
Yeah.
What's the black shirt? What's that?
So it's Monday through Thursday. We go up in the wrestling or in the
Weight room?
weight room, and have this little sheet we look at and lift. Have a
Good
little
for
lifting.
you. Good for you.
Yeah. So yeah, Max and you've had Kaden Keller with you, and so yeah, you guys, on the nights where we have both Black Shirt Club and freestyle practice, you do an hour of freestyle, and then you come up and get your workout in too. So it's cool to see. You're definitely a kid who, and this was very evident the second he stepped in the wrestling room is. You're not someone who needs to be reminded to focus or to, give it your all or anything like that. You just go and do it. You're a workhorse. So that's much appreciated, and it's carrying over to the weight room too.
Yeah, I wanted to show the kids. I knew what it was, but when I said the black shirt, I wanted to make sure that all these kids know out here that this guy works hard, and you get success if you work really hard. It will come.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, you'll get it.
And I also want to put it out there for Black Shirt Club. I emailed the middle school parents and wrestlers as well this week, and I want to put out that message that, hey, it's not too late. We'd love to we have 23 commits in all to doing Black Shirt Club. Knowing that we have a lot of spring sports going on right now, that gets a little dicey. But yeah, it's not too late. Just let me know, and we'd love to have you. We kind of do a custom sheet for everybody so that they can track their progress, and we're going to be no pun intended, maxing out either tonight or tomorrow, depending on when people can do it, and kind of see where our baseline is, and we'll do that about every 6 weeks to help track progress. So, yeah.
Oh, cool. Right, well, that covers. How do you think wrestling prepares you for the other sports? That's a big question. Make sure I said that right.
So it's just kind of going into it. It hones your body. You can do things you might not have thought you could previously do. I never saw myself doing cartwheels and stuff like that.
That many push-ups.
Yeah. 5th grade, I was like right when I started wrestling, when I was the most I could do for push-ups, and at one certain time was probably 8, and now I can do 100 at once, and
Jeez.
Isn't that fun?
yeah, it's just kind of crazy to you're like, whoa, I didn't know I could do that, and then when it goes into doing other sports, you're holding your stance for a long time, and so if you're going into football, it
Yeah.
prepares you to keep your stance for a long time.
Get ready for that double leg takedown when you tackle somebody.
Yeah, you gotta kind of same principle with taking somebody down, and then just kind of the work aspect of it is if you wrestle, and then you go to any other sport, you'll be equipped physically enough to take on the challenges that that sport will
Yeah, we say it all the time, and I don't think we're biased in saying it. It's probably the most difficult high school sponsored sport that you could train for, as far as like the training regimen.
It is work.
Yeah, there's a reason NFL players go and do MMA, which, hey, they're doing wrestling training for MMA, you know, in the off season and everything. And you're right, the flexibility, also the mental fortitude. I mean, every other sports practice probably seems kind of like a cakewalk in comparison to some of the days we've had. So yeah, those are all great points.
So what other sports are you in? I heard football.
Yeah, just wrestling and football.
Oh, okay.
I kind of played all kinds of sports throughout my life, but
Yep.
The ones that just kind of I stuck with are just wrestling and football.
What position do you play in football?
O-line, D-line.
Very good. Push and pull.
Yeah.
That's absolutely great.
Absolutely.
Absolutely is right. Okay, I think we covered that one. Who's your favorite professional sports team?
My favorite professional sports team would be the Vikings.
Yeah.
Just kind of keep it local.
Yeah. Good. Not like the
Do you get
the
to go to-
Dallas Cowboys
Yeah.
fan we had.
Do you
I'm
get
just
to go to
kidding.
any games or anything?
Yeah, I've gone to a few games. Like to watch it on the TV, but yeah, I've gone to a game or two.
Yep.
Nice.
It's quite excitement up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talk about hype. Oh man, them
Okay,
guys
okay.
get.
Real quick question then. What position do you think we're drafting at 12? We got the draft a week away. We have pick 12. I want Max Flemke's prediction right now.
I'm gonna say safety.
Okay, yeah.
Safety.
Anything in the D-back area. You know, Harrison Smith's getting long in the tooth.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just him
He
and
is.
Cam Bynum back there this year. So, okay.
they're gonna need help.
That's good. Nice.
I don't know if Smith will need that much help, but he's pretty good yet.
Yeah.
I've seen that guy come in and dive and grab them 2 ankles. He knows how to save his body. That guy.
This will be year 11 in the league, though. Like,
Really?
you don't think he's that old, but yeah, he's getting there. So,
I got an autographed football from him on his rookie year before he ever touched an NFL football.
really?
He was
Oh, my
with,
gosh.
we were at a fundraiser up in the cities. Oh man, I can't remember his name. The center or inside linebacker,
Greenway?
Greenway.
Yep.
Yep, the Greenway run is
Oh, yeah. Yep,
It was
they're
a long
big.
run they were doing, and he brought him along because he's brand new and he wanted to introduce him to people.
Sure.
So he stood in line right with Greenway and signed anything he had.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, that was cool.
I bet.
Now that he's done what he's done.
Right, yeah. All pro.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay, and we got one last thing here.
So, to preface this, you and my son geek out about classic rock
Yeah.
on bus rides for middle school. So he's telling me about like, oh my God, we were surprising each other with our music knowledge. So that's why I put this question on there. What is it, Coach?
Favorite classic rock band or artist?
My favorite classic rock band is CCR.
Yeah.
CR is good.
Definitely one of my favorites. But Queen, AC/DC.
Deep Purple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Purple.
Yes, slide
Forget
them
about
in
those
there.
guys. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Well-rounded kid. Great job, Ben and Nicole, your parents. And speaking of shout-outs, any shout-outs you want to throw out there right now?
Maybe Twinkle Toes Townley. That's
Twinkle Toes Townley.
That's
Is that Trevor?
That's Trevor.
Oh, man.
Twinkle Toes. How did you get that one? How did he get that one? I should say.
Yeah.
Just kind of a small kid.
Okay.
Call him Twinkle Toes. And then his dad, he kind of, they call me Beefcake on the mat.
Really?
So he kind of he coined that nickname, and then Scott Sorensen for getting me into wrestling in my fourth grade year.
Awesome.
Cool.
All good shout-outs. Well, Twinkle Toes, I hope I see you tonight at lifting. So, yeah. That's awesome.
Okay. Well, that about wraps up here
Yeah.
at Max. We appreciate you coming in and telling us your story and your history with Owatonna wrestling. It sounds like you got a lot more to do.
Yeah.
And you are really fired up the way it looks to me. This kid's working hard. He's coming to practice. He's going to the weightlifting, Black Shirt Club. That's what they call it. But I'll tell you what, if you're a member of that club, that means you're tough. So come on in. Anybody can join. It's a wide open door.
Absolutely. Thanks, Max.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back right after this break. All right. Welcome back to the Owatonna Wrestling Weekly Podcast. Coach Johnson running the show here. Does a fine job every week. Every Wednesday we do a new show. So you can watch it, and you can watch the old ones if you want. And you can whip up anyone you want.
Absolutely.
So now, here we go.
Well, so the next guest, our esteemed guest, he is a gentleman who's already at the table, and I want to pick your brain because not only are you such a great Owatonna wrestling historian, but you were a part of the program. You have lived this. You've lived the blue and gray and white wrestling program forever. I mean, so I want to know the backstory. I want to know the history, and as we talk about these things, you've kind of hinted at them as we've had guests on and everything like that. But I'll confess, I don't even really know your history in the Owatonna wrestling program. Besides, you were my coach.
Yeah.
And then I was, giving me
moved
rides
on,
to
yeah.
freestyle and yeah.
Get in the van, let her roll.
Yeah, get in the van. Yeah, meet at Hovden's place was always the
6:30
direction.
in the morning, we go.
Yeah. So let's start back with your own wrestling career. You alluded to it a little bit with Mr. Wade Westfall, but what exactly got you into there? You snuck out to go to practice?
Yes,
Can you go over that?
My dad was a basketball player.
Okay.
And that was the number one thing. I had to get around that. And for 2 weeks, I was staying after school to do homework, and I was going to wrestling practice.
That's dedication,
and
man.
then I got invited or another guy, Steve Knox, asked me to stay overnight at his house on Friday. We set it all up, and there was a tournament down in Harmony, Minnesota.
Okay.
And I'll stay at your house Friday night. We can go Saturday morning. I'll be home by 1, 2 o'clock, and I can go home
Sure.
in time for the chores at night.
Yeah.
My dad worried about that a lot too.
Oh,
We had
I bet.
2-3 hours worth of chores.
Jeez.
And so Spring Valley had a small paper, a weekly paper on Thursdays. So it was the following Thursday. He sees my name in the paper for wrestling because I placed at this tournament. I got third or so. I don't know what it was.
So that's how he found out?
That's how he found out. He says, "Where were you last Saturday?" And I thought, "Oh no." He showed me the paper and my name. I said, "Oh, busted."
Yep.
So then I had to tell him, and we went around. And he said no yet. So then he said, "You can't go." And one night, my mom and I sat down with him and said, "This kid wants to wrestle." And I wasn't a great big guy at that time. I was,
Okay.
about 5 foot and in 7th grade. And I had done well in the 2-week thing that we had, that the high school team did for the little kids, and had a lot of fun there. But to do it every day, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And finally, it come to the point where my dad said, "If you can take me down, you can go out for wrestling." Quote what he said. And I thought, oh man, my dad was like 280, and he was a pretty big boy, 6 foot,
Sure.
280, and I was strong.
Yeah.
I was a far boy, but I tell you, I took him down. But that wasn't 7th grade. I think that was in 8th grade. I did that. But anyway, I took him down, and then he just took his arms and just pushed me straight up in the air and right off. And I thought, okay, we're done. I took him
Yeah.
down.
Right.
So that's how it got started.
Okay.
And And we made an agreement on the chores. I had to do more in the morning, so I didn't have to do it at night. So I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Jeez.
doing 2 hours worth instead of 1, so that we changed the feeding on. We had a bunch of beef cows and
Okay.
all that stuff. So, yeah, that's how I got involved in the wrestling program in Spring Valley, Minnesota.
Okay.
And I didn't go to college. I decided to get married. I was 19. My wife was 18. And we started our family young. And 2 years later, we had our first kid. And that was our first boy. And then we had 4 boys in a row. So, we were having fun because Josh was just getting into football. They had a little youth league. By then, we had
Sure.
moved to Sturtville because I got closer to Rochester
I didn't know you lived in Stewartville.
for 1 year.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
1 year.
Gotcha.
And, I think, your mom and dad.
That's
were-
my territory,
yeah.
or my family's territory.
Yeah,
Yeah. Both
yeah.
mom and dad.
They were on there.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. We could have ran into them. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Right.
And so it was getting kind of fun. All the kids getting involved in their program. But I had a job where I worked from 2:45 in the morning until my route got done about 4 o'clock,
Oh, jeez.
3 o'clock, because you have to check in after you get in. And so I never really could go and commit
Yeah.
to the coaching. And after that, I got into supervision, and so I was over here in Owatonna. I got promoted. I was supervisor of all the routes going out of Owatonna. And then again, it was 2:45. Our first route left at 3, but then the last route didn't get done until 7 o'clock at night.
Jeez.
So I didn't have any time to get in this room, and I was I was changing my routes around. When I do a vacation route for a guy, I'd change it around so I could be at that town where the kids were wrestling.
Okay. Yep.
And we did it down in Wells one time. We did it down in Albert Lee one time. And we didn't coach for a couple hours and
Yeah.
finished the route.
Sure.
So
Oh man.
yeah, it was quite.
Well, and how your boys were only what? I know Jake and Adam were 2 years apart.
They're all 2 years
Gabe,
apart.
yeah, 2 years. Yeah, I was about to say they all
2
seem
and a
like they were
half
two.
between Gabe and Jake, but yeah,
Okay.
they're all about 2.
Yeah. Jeez. So that sounds super easy. 4 kids, all within, or 4 boys especially, all within 2 years of each other.
And then
Yeah.
I had a life-changing event happen. And now I say, God works in wondrous ways. I hurt my back, and I blew out 2 discs on a lifting accident. I lifted a ladder, and it was too much weight out there, and I
Sure.
twisted and turned, and and so I couldn't do that job anymore. I tried, and I couldn't do the routes. I couldn't lift or anything. So, I got a job at the schools. I went in and I volunteered at the lunch hour at the junior high.
Okay.
That's where it all started. I just volunteered to go in there at noon hour and do supervision.
Sure.
And Mrs. Salcedo saw that, and the next year she offered me a job. And
So what year was that about? Mid 90s, right? Or early 90s?
early 90s.
Early 90s,
Yeah.
okay.
91.
91.
91
Okay.
I started with schools, I think.
Gotcha.
And but before that time, after I got hurt, then Scott Davis moved to town. And we decided in 86, I think he came, 86 or 87 season, something like that. And he came over to my house, and we sat at the kitchen table, and we thought we're going to start up a new program because it was Park and Rec. And they were doing well, but we thought we could take it up a notch higher,
Sure.
So Scott and I sat at that table, and we sat there. We wrote the whole program down on paper. Everything, the singlets, the uniforms, the whatever, tournaments we could go to, looked them all up in the Guild Team magazine. And it was a bunch of money that we wanted to spend, so we had to go out and get sponsors. But before we did all that, it's kind of an inside joke Scott and I always said, because I asked him at the end of all this, gosh, Scott, can we really do this? And he said, yes, we can. We can do anything we want. And I thought, you know what? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that. We can do this. And so we did. We put the youth program together. We had looked at the previous youth, and it was like 50 kids. And so we planned on that was in the spring too, and so we planned on that 50 or 60 because we were out promoting, and we ended up with that first year it was over 150, and I had to order uniforms 3 times. That was the best problem I ever had in my life.
Yeah. Just keep reloading.
I brought my little book,
Oh, nice.
and I got some figures here. Yeah, in, I guess it was 87, 88. I got the numbers here. It was Park and Rec. So in 88, 89, we did it. And we ended up with 184 kids that year,
Jeez.
that first year. So it was really fun because I was going into schools. We had tables like this at the schools. I set up a few trophies and had a piece of paper I was handing out when the kids come out of the lunchroom. So I got every kid in the school. You want to go out? You want to win that trophy? Come on out for wrestling.
Yeah.
That's all I said. And boy, it really went off. It took off. Went up to 184, then 268 that following year. That was the highest we ever had.
Yeah, I remember those. That was
in 90.
thinking about those duels, the Friday night rumbles where, it was 50 versus 50, just one elementary school against another. Like, those were crazy.
Oh, yeah. We had Lincoln was probably the biggest team. Was that your team? No, you were
Wilson.
McKinley.
I was Wilson.
Oh, you're Wilson. Okay.
Yep.
And Lincoln had like 70, 80 kids on a team.
It was
so
crazy.
They were something. But we had a huge. We were upstairs most of the time up here in the high school gym because we couldn't fit anymore. We started out our first match was in the old wrestling room.
Yep.
Down there.
The
It's a
dungeon.
locker room now.
Yep.
And it's like I had 2 teams with over 50 kids apiece, and then all the parents and grandparents wanting to come in and watch them.
Oh,
So
sure.
it was just a mess. We had to have the people stand outside. We'll call you when your kid comes.
Yeah.
You come in, you watch the wrestle, then you have to go back out so somebody else can come back in. And the parents did very well with it. They saw.
Yeah.
I told them I didn't plan on having 100 kids wrestling here tonight.
Right.
We got more uniforms coming because there were some in
Yeah.
T-shirts and shorts. And,
Well, and you had those singlets that were, rentals, so every kid was able to get a singlet. I mean, you guys did such a good job in, inclusivity-wise by having, the least expensive sport in town.
and we had the singlets where they're reversible.
Yeah,
Red on
yeah.
one side and blue on the other, so they could be whatever color they were in the match. So it worked out real well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the whole team was all the same color.
Yeah, that too.
That's what we went after, is trying to get all the kids to feel like a team. Mm-hmm. And so then I did that for a few years. I did it from 87 all the way up to 03
Wow.
at the youth program.
Jeez.
And I started helping out at the junior high because I worked there, so I could talk to the kids, and I started to promote them there. Mm-hmm. And I see a kid in the hallway, and I grab him around the head and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing after school?"
Yeah. The Larry Hovden recruiting tool.
Oh yeah, I did it. I was constant. It never
You
stopped.
were.
It never stopped.
Yep.
And I went in to help Rod Nakagaki. He was the head coach for 2 years while I worked with him. And we had 20 that year and 28 the following year. And then Coach Rod became the head coach of the girls volleyball team.
Yeah.
So he couldn't do that anymore because he had to commit to all that.
Sure.
So then Scott asked me if I wanted to do it and be in charge, so I did. But I had a guy named Dave Nelson.
Yeah.
I got him, and I don't know how we even got him. That kid, I don't think he ever did quit coaching when he graduated from school. I think he was there every night,
Yeah.
all the time. And I saw how he coached, so I asked him to come up there at the junior high, and he did. And we were a dual coaching job that I don't think any other team could even come close to that.
Right.
What we had going there. Mm-hmm. He was I always called him a little Banny Rooster because he was always jumping around yelling at kids, "Come on now, you gotta do this, you gotta do that." And then I'd go around behind him and pick the kid up. You're doing fine, let's go.
Good cop, bad cop. Yeah.
Pump him back up after he tore him
Right.
down. But that is kind of a strategy if you can do that right.
Yeah. Well,
You make
and
that
he
kid
was-
in on a good note.
I remember, I remember that combination, but at the same time, it's not like he was ever unfair about it. Like, it's a hard age to coach.
Oh yes.
Rambunctious, the energy's crazy, the hormones are going crazy.
New kids, like
yeah, the
Eric.
behavioral problems. So, like, you need someone like that. You
Yep.
need that type of bulldog mentality. But
Yep.
then, to have the good cop on the other side picking up the pieces, that's pretty crucial, too.
Yeah, and then we built it up there. We got in the 40s in about 2002, and we hung in there as 46, 53, 54, 38, 52, 50. So we had some big teams, and that was just 7th and 8th grade. That wasn't the 6th grade. They didn't have middle school yet.
Right.
6th graders are still over at Willow Creek. And then in 2011, they came in. The sixth graders came into the room, and I thought I might want to retire because I was burned out, or not burned out, but I was tired.
Yeah. That's a
And
long
so
time.
I took a 2-year leave of absence. Didn't plan on coming back, but things happened where there was about 8 kids going out for wrestling that next year in 2012.
Okay.
And I thought, oh no, why? What's going on? Because I hadn't heard. They're all hollering about stuff, but I didn't really think that was so true. There was kids that were going to go to Medford.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I talked to them. I said, "Will you come out if I come back?" Yeah. So then they went and told their buddies, "Hovden's come back. Nelson's come back," and Chet Mock came instead of Nelson. Chet Mock came in there. He helped me with those
Sure.
3 years. We built that program back up before Alan Ewell took over. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it is there. But the wrestling and the broadcasting, that's how I learned, because I watched these kids grow up from the youth all the way through.
Right. Yep.
To the senior in high school. So I knew what they did. I knew what their favorite move was.
Yep.
I knew if they could get a takedown or not. I knew
Yeah.
if they're going to win or lose. You know, some matches, if you have to lose, you don't want to get pinned. You want to save those
Right.
team points. So that's what a coach says. And I knew what we could do. And if we had to put a guy in there to see off his back, that's what we did.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Chet Mock was one of them guys we used all the time.
Right. Yeah.
We used him all the time for that role, but when he was younger.
Yeah, and it definitely added to the broadcast, because I recall watching some of my old tape back, and my freshman year on one of my first starts and everything, and yeah, to have, I mean, you knew all, obviously all my relatives and everything too, but yeah, you're just like, wow, we've been, he's in the weight room, he's got a, he
Chet never
was
got
all
pinned
at
his
80
whole career.
pounds. Yeah,
He never
so-
got pinned, I don't
Right.
think. So
Yeah, there's always that insight that you were able to deliver, which was awesome, and because you were there
oh yeah,
through middle
Davis
school.
would call me at 9 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. If we had an idea, we had it between us, call so we don't forget by morning. You know?
Sure.
So we would go down there. He'd be called my wife and say, "Oh my goodness, what time is it?" And I'd have to go downstairs. We didn't have cell phones at that time. We had
Right.
cord phones. So I had to sit in the kitchen.
Yeah,
I couldn't, so I just talked low.
yeah, there you go.
But yeah, we talked 3 times a day, every day during wrestling season. Every day. We did for sure, because we were always saying, "Who do you got ready? Okay, I need a guy for this spot," because he's building up here too. We needed
Yeah,
more people.
for sure.
And he had 70 guys in the high school wrestling room, and still wasn't enough. We needed more sometimes
Yeah.
to fill in at those JV tournaments or the freshman tournaments.
Oh, when you're sending 3 varsity teams different
Yeah.
places.
For
Yeah.
sure too.
So, yeah.
And then that next team was a JV, but they were at number 3.
Yeah, exactly.
And they did well.
Yeah.
And they did well. So we had a lot of fun all those years of just coaching and just having fun.
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
absolutely. Well, and I keep saying it, I wanted you back on, and, because you are what I think about with the voice of Owatonna wrestling, but also so well staked in my own memories. You talk about the 87, 88. That was when we moved to town. So my first year was the year that was unrolled. And so that's what I cherish the most. Was
So you
the
never
fact that-
did wrestle in the park and rec?
Nope.
Oh my.
Yeah, it was the 87. We moved here the week of the Owatonna Open in 87. So came here, won that,
Good.
for kid 50-pound kindergarten tournament. And then the very next fall then was the first year I was actually here for the season, and that was the year that it had been reformed to what it is, what it became under you and
We got
Davis.
control of it.
Yeah, exactly. So that, it's such a part of my upbringing to think about, tonight's Wilson versus McKinley and stuff. And, I get that it's a little bit different culture, and that, Owatonna is such a good sports town that a lot of other sports kind of followed
so
the
many
lead.
more, yeah.
Yeah, and they've, become much more organized. You guys just had such a great, you were far and away in the lead as far as organizing, marketing, everything like that.
Marketing, our fundraisers, we sold
Yeah.
candy and
Right.
I had a literally semi back in my driveway
Sure.
and filled my garage up with candy.
Yeah.
The first year we did it, we had to sort our own, had to go into the boxes and set up everybody's order. But they saw the numbers we had, they changed it. And
Yeah.
Put everything in one box, everything a kid needed, and we had some good incentive prizes. We were giving away bikes, and we were giving away 4-wheel drive trucks, the automated ones where you
The
could
Power
drive
Wheels?
Power wheels,
Yeah.
Oh, them kids went nuts over them things.
Yeah.
And it worked out because at the fair that year, they had that, so all the kids were all fired up on them 4-wheel drive
Sure.
trucks. So
Yeah.
that's what gave me and Dave were sitting there. That's what gave us the idea. He said,
Oh,
I think
okay.
I know what our fundraiser incentive is this year, so we bought a bunch of them toy trucks and
Oh, that's cool.
self-propelled or self-controlled and yeah, we had a lot of fun doing them fundraisers. Oh man, Dale Benjamin was another guy. He was on the radio.
Yep.
Before I was. I think he did the radio most of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one that taught me how to talk. You know, he went to school. He went to college for that. And so I always teased him, yeah, you went to school and learned how, you had to pay to learn how to talk like that. You know, when I say something wrong, I'm a new guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So we had a lot of fun coaching all the tournaments. We drive to and ride the bus, and sometimes we ride a car, and then the high school, we were up to that state tournament, and we had hotels and rooms and the fun times with all the other parents. You know, they'd all get together, and we'd all have casserole dishes, and they'd have a ham, and they'd have big meals there for us. So
Absolutely.
they expected us to come in. So
Yeah.
get a little cotton mouth here.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, it's probably good timing though. So thank you yet again. Like I said, I don't think I've ever heard your full backstory or anything like that. So that's
I touched on a lot of this stuff.
yeah,
man,
like
so
here
much.
and there. But yeah, it's cool to hear. I mean, you had to really fight to be a part of the sport originally. You know, literally.
I did, literally,
You
yeah.
wrestled for it. Yeah.
There
so
was my dad.
yeah, but
He was a basketball player, so it's kind of easy taking him down. I just couldn't hold him down.
sure. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that, and I look forward to, we have one more episode for this season next week, and then after that, we'll take a little hiatus with the summer and everything like that, and then next fall, we'll actually start this kind of right before the season starts and get the hype going and everything like that.
Get everybody informed.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing. If everybody
Yep.
knows what's going on, it is so much better program.
Yep.
It turns into a
Absolutely.
great program after it's at the end of it. It's been a great
Yeah.
program. People say that because they knew what was going on. If you keep them parents informed,
Absolutely.
that is number one.
Yeah. So, well, thank you, Coach.
Okay.
And thank you to Premier Bank. Once again, the sponsor for this week's podcast, the whole month of April, actually. Premier Bank, the expertise is small business lending. That's who they know. That's what they are. Everyone on the board is a very successful small business owner or owning multiple ones of those. So that's who we go to bat for. Not 10 times out of 10, it's a great atmosphere. It's collaborative with all our clients, and we're a big character bank where the people that we trust, the people that we have a great relationship with,
Family owned.
yeah, we'll go to bat for them any day. So yeah,
That's a
thank
big
you.
thing. Family owned, family ran community bank. Mm-hmm. Nothing better than that. Okay, well, we got one more show coming up next week.
Yep.
And so that'll put the end of this one, the Owatonna Wrestling Weekly Podcast. Coach Johnson running the show down there. He hands out what we're going to talk about and who we're going to talk to, and makes my job real easy.
Yeah,
You're
that's
just
the
like
goal.
Dale. See, you did
Yeah,
it.
yeah, true.
Told me what I got to say.
Yeah.
Okay, that about wraps it up here. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.